Tuesday, December 2nd. I'm Adam Walsh, and this is The Signal. No regular Tuesday, by the way. It's Giving Tuesday, a global day of encouraging folks to give to their community and organizations that care about their communities. So today we have one such organization here, Stella Circle. So the conversation on this Giving Tuesday with the folks from Stella's, the work they're doing, why it matters, how they're tackling some real pressing issues in community, and also, why that matters, how folks can help, how folks can get involved, all of that in 55 minutes of radio. Laura Winters is back, Stella Circle's lead executive officer, right? How you doing?
I'm wonderful. So happy to be here with our amazing team members and to have this time and space today. Thank you.
Yeah, we got a full studio here today. You folks, you're spending 55 minutes talking to me, but you've got a busy day ahead.
We do. So it's Giving Tuesday, a huge day of giving and impact in the community sector. It's also Light Up Hope today. So we do have an event happening at 4 p.m. at the Bonaventure Community Garden right next to Holy Heart. And it's really about creating community together, which is what we do at Stella's Circle. This event is family friendly. Our inclusion choir will sing. Our social enterprises will serve hot chocolate and cookies. And it's a time to come together and in a family-friendly environment and really celebrate and be together.
How long have you been lead executive officer now?
I am just coming up on 4 years. I think we were chatting earlier that you interviewed me on my very first day, and we were talking about housing at that time and the housing crisis, and we know much of what was happening 4 years ago has become even more in terms of depth of need, in terms of the level of crisis, and there's more in terms of what community organizations, including Stella's Circle, are doing. At that time, I think we chatted about the fact that we had 75 units of affordable housing. We're now at 133 and counting. And so it's a special day today on Giving Tuesday because it is a day where donations are matched across the community sector. But for us, donations are matched up to $15,000 and they're going directly into 15 new homes for women.
What does that say to you with when you think of the progress you've made with building out this way? What's that like to kind of look at that?
I think it's inspiring to see the work that our incredible team does on the ground day in, day out. It's also, you see the depth of the need, and no one knows that more than the folks that work frontline across the community sector. So it is both inspiring and also a little disheartening to know that the circumstance continues to be incredibly challenging for people experiencing homelessness in this province and across the country.
Yeah, it's why are we building out? Well, because we have to. And there comes a weight with that, even though it's this is the fact that you have been able to do that and you can do that. And it is helping folks, and with that inspiration bit that you just mentioned.
Exactly. And I think everyone deserves housing. It's a very basic human right. And so our organization is responding to that in very tangible ways. And these 15 new units are special. They're dedicated specifically to women and gender diverse folks. And I know we'll speak more about that. But the need is so great. And we're so just happy to be able to fill that.
So before I kick it to the rest of the team here in studio, give just which I ask you every time, but the re-explainer of everything that Stella does, right? Because we talked about housing there, but what else is it? Because there's some things that folks will obviously be aware of, but just, give us the Coles notes, if you could.
Thanks for that. There's a lot happening across the organization. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is a bunch. Yeah.
It is. And we served over 1,600 individuals last year, which is staggering. That's a 50% increase from the time I started at the organization. Our work is in housing and homelessness. So it's the provision of those affordable housing units and supports for individuals experiencing homelessness. It's also in mental health and addictions. We have a whole suite of programming around that. And then we also do work in employment and education, including providing social enterprises where folks that access our services can gain employment in the environments that we operate.
Excellent. All right. Nikki, give us the best introduction of yourself now.
Sure, thanks, Adam. So my name's Nikki Brown. I'm the program manager of Women's Justice and Transitional Housing. So as Laura alluded to, we have mental health and addiction support programs. We are one of those. And Laura also mentioned those 15 housing units which are going to be opening next year, and those are dedicated to women and gender diverse people. So we're going to be kind of shifting from mental health focus to also housing, which we see as a great need for the folks that we work with. So Just Us Women's Center serves women and gender diverse people who have been impacted by the criminal justice system or had contact with the criminal justice system. So that means we support women who are in correctional facilities as well as women and gender diverse people who are in community.
Why'd you get into this line of work?
That's a great question. I was raised in a family where everybody saw need in their community, including growing up. My mom's family grew up pretty poor, and so they just learned how to love each other and support in community, and I think they raised me that way. So here we are.
Here we are. Great. All right, Julia, your turn. Best introduction of yourself.
Thanks, Adam. I'm Julia Blomquist. I'm manager of social enterprise for Stella Circle, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this team and looking forward to the conversation today.
So when it comes to social enterprise, we do half frequent on this show. We talk about it, so I think people can have got their heads wrapped around what a social enterprise is. And I think also with Stella's, there's stuff that you'll like. Just tell us about your social enterprises, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, I know that, and maybe there's one that they don't know."
Sure. Well, I'm happy to tell you just about like the key characteristics of social enterprises and in the context of Stella Circle. So all social enterprises would have a market-based approach, selling goods or services. So for us, we have 4 social enterprises. Our first one we started 18 years ago is the Hungry Heart Cafe and Catering. So our catering is in full operation. Our new Hungry Heart Cafe will be opening up in Pleasantville next month. We have our Clean Start, which is commercial cleaning. We have Home to Stay, which is small renovations, as well as our Stella's Brasserie, which moved into the old home of the Hungry Heart, which is beautiful small plates and a cocktail menu, really cozy environment, and a beautiful space for gathering. The second characteristic would be a dual mission, so balancing the need to generate revenue with a core social purpose. The third would be the reinvestment of profits into programming. And lastly, just the community focus of social enterprises. So for us, having strong ties to the community, but also being valued for the positive changes that we make in community.
What's it like running social enterprises these days, like with the way the economy is and everything else? Like, how are you finding it?
It comes, of course, with challenges.
Yeah.
It's an amazing task to be able to measure both quantitative metrics with qualitative metrics. So for us, it's a broader picture. And so exploring that and being able to measure impact and work with this amazing team to be able to do that just opens up a lot of opportunities. Of course, the social enterprises, each of them were started to fill a gap within the community in terms of offering a product or service, but also being able to create linkages with our incredible employment services team and be able to offer, real workplace training is just an incredible piece of the puzzle.
So what drew you to this? I mean, look, and I've known you for years, but so I have an idea. But for everyone else in the room, which is Newfoundland and Labrador's lunchtime listening audience, what drew you to this?
For sure, thank you. Well, of course, like working in business development and having had several businesses of my own, that is an amazing foundation. Caring deeply for the community and being able to work in business development, but with that strong community lens. And then I also had the privilege of working in career development, so I just understand, the opportunities and complexities of, just our evolving lifelong careers and the different ways that can look for folks.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how things in life can just stack up, right? Because you go from having a business understanding to the career bit, and this, as they overlap, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this, and what I am now passionate about, all of my previous bits and bobs together put me into this a good person for this position. I always find it funny.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I feel incredibly lucky and also just so fortunate to be working with a team that we just really are aligned like in our values, and just in terms of like the organizational values, it just feels like this was really meant to be.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Tara, your turn. Well, welcome back, by the way. Give us, again, as just to keep going to the three, the best introduction of yourself, please.
Fantastic. Yes, my name is Tari Ajadi. I'm the Director of Strategy at Stella's Circle. And so a Director of Strategy is a bit of a odd kind of title. Everyone goes, well, what does that mean? Are you playing Dungeons and Dragons? Like, is that what you're doing? But basically, I'm here to help be a bit of a convener for the organization. We have a bunch of goals. We do a lot of things. We have our fingers in a lot of pies in terms of the work that we do as a community organization. And I'm here to kind of bring everyone together, make sure that we're rowing in the same direction, and also help to do things like facilitate communications. I work on kind of fundraising. I'm also engaged with government and with advocacy. And so the last time I was here, I have my advocacy hat on because, of course, poverty reduction is incredibly important to us as an organization. And so you'll probably see me floating about here and there. And thankfully, I'm also the MC for this evening's event, Light Up Hope. So it's really great.
So how does one prepare to be an MC, to host one of those things, right? Like, what are your preps, like your notes? Do you got jokes written? Like, how does it work? Is it just introducing? Is it,
So my last MCing gig was actually at our holiday party, and I tried to make some jokes, and they bombed.
Okay.
So my prep is, you know what? Calm, stably, just moving people through the event.
So was Laura like, be yourself, but not like, don't think too much about being yourself.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, it's not a stand-up gig, right? So ease off on the routine.
Yeah. All right. I like the thought process into this evening. Hope. Why, light up hope? Why is, that's a simple question, but why is hope so important for folks? I mean, I think it's important for everyone. But when you think about what you do and the folks you work with, and then you look at the province and where we are right now, why is hope such an important thing?
I think we exist as an organization because people envision different lives for themselves, and we want to help facilitate moving them towards their dreams and goals. And so for us, that's really what it's about. It's about understanding the changes people want to see in their own lives and how we can support that as an organization. And so the folks we serve are at the very center of absolutely everything that we do. And I think that's, for me, what hope is about. It's about that connection to the people and the communities that we serve. And all of us being in this together and creating community together and moving forward in a way that, yes, people can have hope in their own lives, but also I hope that someday we don't need community organizations and that the system meets people's needs as it stands. So when Tari speaks about advocacy, that's the other piece, that we know things need to change overall so that people have access to really very basic needs like the human right of housing, like mental health supports and wellness. And I personally have hope for that we can get there.
So what was it like 4 years ago when you started in like that first intersection with hope for you when you noticed it? And I know you've been in this area for work forever. Well, not forever, but for a while. What was that like? Do you remember like a couple of your first interactions with like seeing the difference, seeing the help and the hope and like the connections with folks in community?
Absolutely. And I've been so lucky to be, in the sector for over 15 years now. And I think the difference at Stella's Circle is the holistic nature of what we can offer because our services are so broad and they touch people's lives in so many different areas. And so, again, somebody might come through our doors because they're experiencing homelessness and they're going to stay at the Naomi Center shelter for young women. Maybe they, stay there and hopefully get stabilized around their housing. Perhaps they move into one of our units or they're supported in a private unit. And then at that point, maybe they're looking to explore some shifts around their mental health. And so they can engage in other programming that we offer along with our community partners that we're so deeply connected to. And then eventually, if they'd like to get their adult basic education perhaps and maybe move into employment, we get to walk alongside people on that entire journey. And I think that's really the beauty of what Stella Circle offers.
Yeah, because it really is that, right? It is we have a shelter. And then we can help and walk, like you said, walk with you through some education. We have social enterprises. It's like there's some work now with this housing, and there's wraparound supports there, and all the while advocating for change and for more help and more, whether it's the, whatever you want to call it, the social safety net, other types of things, so that the systems are shored up so others don't have to start at that level. And this is that side that cuts through all of it for what you're doing.
That's exactly it. And I think, we're also talking about community, and community is very broad. And so even the event that we're running today at 4, the Light Up Hope event, it's really about bringing everybody together and saying the folks that access our services are your neighbors.
Yeah.
These are community members like you and I. And so let's all come together, be in a shared space where everyone is valued and where we are part of this community together. I don't think folks necessarily get an opportunity to be part of something like that if they don't work in the community sector. And so this is a way to bring everyone together in this shared inclusive space and really kick off the season in a way, light up the hope sign, have some joy, because people deserve joy in their lives as well. And to also, it is a day of fundraising as well. So it is Giving Tuesday. We are, hoping that folks will support us in that way, both at this event and through donating online on our website right now at stellacircle.ca. And it is such a special day because the donations are matched today. So your money is doubled. So if you can give $20, it becomes $40. And the impact is so great. I think it's a really beautiful thing to be able to say to the folks that access our services, we are offering this specific program because people in community have donated. So beyond our core funding, for example, our peer support program is 100% funded through donations. And so we can have folks who have lived expertise, who have walked the walk and have this experience supporting people who are currently experiencing homelessness or challenges around addiction. And the expertise that people bring when they have lived those things is so unique and beautiful and so impactful in people's lives. And we can offer that because of the donations that we receive. So that is the kind of unique and creative approach we can build when we have the support of community.
Well, that peer-to-peer bit, I mean, it's so crucial because right away it allows for, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my understanding of it allows for a certain amount of, like, you can have your guard down a little bit because you understand this is someone who's been through it. So I'm not, guard's not necessarily as up as it would be because I know you are in a similar type of a situation. Maybe we can connect a little bit easier because you understand a bit of what I've been through.
Absolutely. It is about that trust building. And it's about the idea that people with lived expertise have expertise not just in their own stories, but in the system, what's wrong with it, how to navigate it, what needs to change. And so there's a point of connection that can be made when you're like, this person gets it because they know the challenges and the problems that I am living right now. So I think that's a big piece of it as well. Yeah,
everything that could be from stigma or the fact that I can't get to appointment because of the bus routes.
That's exactly it.
Right, that range. All right, who else on Hope?
I could certainly talk a little bit about Hope. I mean, I'm relatively new to the organization. I've been at Stella's Circle since the summer. And one of the things that's just been so profoundly transformative for me, not just in terms of my engagements with participants or with the wider community, but with the team at Stella's Circle. This event is really a massive lift. It takes plenty of folks in terms of our staff. It takes a ton of volunteers. It takes a ton of community investment. And everyone is just so willing to pull together as a team. And that gives me hope because, in other parts of the world and in other walks of life, you don't get to have that kind of connection with a group of people all pulling together to try to pull something off, not because it makes them better, not because, it puts money in their pockets, but because we're trying to support our broader community. That team aspect of Stella's Circle is something that really gives me a lot of hope, and it makes me just proud every day to come to work with some of these incredible people.
So where are we right now as community? When we've touched on a bit of this, right? Just what are you seeing for the reality of why these programs, why these supports are so important? And Laura, you talked about the numbers that was it doubled since you started?
Yeah, it's about 50% higher. So when I started, we were at about 1,000 folks per year being served, and now at about 1,600. And that's through the hard work of around 175 staff right now.
So what does that say to you of what's happening in community and why things are needed. Like whether from the housing crisis, the affordability crisis, what are we seeing?
I think just to build on Laura's point about all of us being in this community together, we see the barriers with healthcare, with justice, a lot of things that people are struggling with across our community. A lot of us love people who have mental health or substance dependence challenges. And so it's kind of looking at the fact that all these things are interconnected. In order for people to, as Laura said, make some shifts in their life, they need to have their basic needs met.
So social determinants of health type
absolutely.
stuff, right? Basic levels of stuff. But there's, as you said, so many gaps that still exist with that.
For sure. And in a lot of our work at Just Us, what we see is folks getting released from correctional facilities and not having a place to go. So how are you supposed to make a shift in your life if you don't have stable and secure housing? And when you look at housing for women and gender diverse folks, it is gendered. So when you look at intimate partner violence and the risks that trans or queer people face when it comes to housing, disability, racism, there's so many layers that impact whether or not people are able to have secure, safe, and affordable housing.
Nikki, tell me more about Just Us Women's Justice Program. Like, how did it start?
Yeah, so it started out of the need for dedicated programming for women in correctional facilities. And so not only do we provide group and individual programming in institutions, we also provide it in the community. So that could look like social support, cooking a meal for women, doing a craft, coming together for a Halloween party. It can look a bunch of different ways. So there's therapeutic aspects, but also social aspects, because that connection is part of that hope to make a change.
And for women in correctional facilities in this province, for folks who don't know, where do they go?
Yeah, so just over the summer, women have transferred. They used to be housed in Clarenville, and now women are staying at HMP. So as I mentioned, I think a lot of folks in the community are aware that there's a lot of challenges when it comes to incarcerations.
Yeah, and so if they're at HMP, it's been in the news over the years for not being the best facility. What's the current state of the facility on the women's side of things, and what is the reality of that like? Because I've done shows where we've talked about the state of HMP on the men's side, and whether it's the rodents, whether it's the fact just it obviously it needs to be replaced. There's years-long discussions of where this will be and where the funding is going to come from and the need for it. People have talked about, even brought up human rights concerns for the lack of programming for on the male side. What are the women facing?
Yeah, so that is a great question. I guess there are similar challenges in terms of staffing, and I think all sectors are seeing staffing retention challenges. And so what we are seeing now is we're able to offer service in town. So we are located in St. John's, and so are the women who are incarcerated. So we're actually
much better than Clarenville.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're able to get in there a little bit more often, and the staff are working with us to try their best and to try our best to meet their needs. So that means group programming multiple times a week. And while there are still lots of the same challenges that you spoke to, women are also closer to their supports. Overall, I mean, there's still the challenge of if there's women who are coming from Labrador, there's still that distance for sure.
Right. So how do you measure success for programs like this? What do you look at?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It can look different for each woman or each person. So for some people, it could be family reunification, being able to be with their kids or rebuild that bridge with their family. For some people, it could be getting a job and going back to school. Laura spoke to our peer support program, and we have a wonderful peer supporter who really champions recovery and working with folks who are struggling. And we've seen some amazing successes in terms of people navigating their own recovery, going back to school, working, and connections across the sector. So when you look at our young women's shelter, the Naomi Center, people might start there, they might interact with us, they might go to our mental health and addictions treatment center, Emmanuel House, and then it all comes together to see people making those big shifts in their lives.
What's something you would like folks to know about? So as folks making these big shifts in their lives, getting support, what's something you think maybe people don't know that you would like them to know about the people that you're working with who need these supports?
I would like people to know, and I think they probably do know, they might just not think about it day to day, but when you see the really big challenges of poverty in our community, we have more in common with everyone than we think we do. Yeah. So, just to say hello, even if you don't you're passing someone by, maybe they ask you for something but you don't have anything, just to say, no, sorry, I don't have anything, but just to acknowledge somebody, because we all have more in common than we don't.
Yeah, and we have previous shows I've done too, talking to folks about the fact that it's that, right? It's that, and then you can, like, all of us are, so many folks could be one paycheck away or one bad life event away, and then it doesn't take much.
Yeah, I think that's been covered in the news so recently, that everyone is stretched more thinly than they've ever been, and I think that speaks to our higher numbers as well.
Well, like on the food insecurity side of what we've talked, like the conversations I've had, and Laura, you mentioned joy, right? Because like we talk about hope, and also that word joy and the importance of it when it comes, because yes, there's high rates of food insecurity in this province, but the fact that everyone deserves to be able to have some hope in their lives and some joy, and then you build and you have the wraparound supports and everything. But I'm just curious as well. I asked about hope, but that conversation around joy and your thoughts on its importance, especially when it comes on a day that's Giving Tuesday. There's fundraising on the go. It's Light Up Hope tonight, but all in with that, it's community and folks together and the experiencing, hopefully, of joy. What do you think?
Well, I'd certainly say that, I find that the most joyful moments of my life, sharing a meal with folks that I care about, sharing great music with people that I'm in community with, and just sharing space, that idea of creating community together. And, that's those are the critical parts of what we do at Stella Circle as well. So our inclusion choir, for example, are an incredible example of precisely this.
Yeah.
We've got folks coming from across community, from across our programming and other spaces, just all coming together to sing, to share space, to share a meal after they sing, and just to kind of create that connection and spread joy to others, right? And of course, they'll be there tonight at our Light Up Hope event. But also, so many of our social enterprises are about sharing joy in the community, and I'm sure that Julia has a lot more to say on that.
Yeah, and also, and put out what times for the, so if folks are curious about going to the event tonight for Light Up Hope, give us, I know we've said it already, but just, someone might just be tuning in. What are the times for it and where?
Absolutely. So it's 4 p.m. At the Bonaventure Community Garden. That's right next to Holy Heart School, between Holy Heart and Brother Rice. And yes, please show up. There will be glow sticks. There will be fire jugglers. There will be cookies, hot chocolate. I'll be there, probably wearing a silly hat.
No jokes, but silly hat. Yeah, there
no
we go.
jokes, silly hat. I think that's a nice balance.
How did you all thread the needle on the weather window is my big question, because yesterday I looked outside, I was like, I'm not going for a run. And then tomorrow I'm probably not going to go for a run. But like, this is a nice evening for this. Like, you're fairly lucky.
That's hope.
Yes, there's the hope. There's the hope right there. That's right.
So, Julia, I mentioned joy. Whether you look at the Hungry Heart Cafe, Stella's Brasserie, this is dealing with food, right? And this is so it's social enterprise with folks working, and also it's connecting with community all around food and joy. I'm just wondering, for what you've seen around it, and just your thoughts on that side of things.
Absolutely, thanks. We're seeing that loneliness is also on the rise, not only for those we serve, but I think it touches everyone. We're so happy to have spaces where folks can gather over a good meal. A lot of folks come to the brasserie on their own. It's a way to interact with our staff for the public and for our neighbors. I think in terms of the team dynamic and just being part of a team, we see that there's just so many pieces around belonging that we can support in terms of what we offer, not only because of being a social enterprise, but also just because of being part of a bigger picture and being able to engage with our neighbors. A lot of our staff and participants alike, that work with us, they're it's not just the work experience piece. It's also being able to have a flexible schedule. Some people might be caring for a parent or a loved one at home. Some folks are experiencing large employment gaps, and they're able to build confidence in a setting where they do feel like they can belong. I think mentorship and feedback is a big part of what each enterprise can offer that, and that's I think also a piece of joy more broadly. And then I guess even just having someone to vouch for you, like I think being able to offer a professional reference to anyone who
Yeah.
works with us, like it's just something that we undervalue, but it can be really pivotal for, I know like I've leaned on those many times myself, and I think it's just like you can see why it's just incredibly important for anyone to, just have folks in their corner.
Well, yeah, and help making someone be kind of current in the workforce, right? So if you
Absolutely.
have that gap for whatever reason or reasons,
Yeah.
to be back in, it's like no, these folks. It's like yes, I have a reference from 5 years ago. That's still good. That
Yeah.
they'll talk about me. But the last 5 years, I've been going through some stuff,
Yeah.
and now I'm current again.
Absolutely.
And these people will vouch for me, and I trust them, and they've been part of my life. And you can see how that could be such a massively important stepping stone to either staying there for like that individual, like, just day to day, that this is my success story, or to graduate to somewhere else that someone wants to go.
Absolutely. And it is worth mentioning, like, there's such a breadth of skills that can be bolstered within our variety of enterprises. And so it's not just food service, but it's also skilled trades under, like, amazing expertise. And also, like, we have Clean Start, which has just been such an incredible success story. There, we have 70 contracts across the city. And
70 contracts.
Yes, and capacity for more. And like a lot of people are, the caliber of service is just phenomenal. A lot of like larger organizations will reach out to our Clean Start lead to say, we're hiring. Who can you put forth? Who can you refer to us? And like that also speaks volumes. So like I think, we're part of a broader professional network, and
Yeah.
I just think that's also a really exciting piece of the work we do.
Tell me more. So tell me more just about Clean Start and how it works.
Absolutely. So we have an amazing lead who runs, who's the manager of Clean Start, Paula Greeley, and she has a team of, I think maybe 50 cleaners, and then a team lead who would supervise their group of cleaners. There's a lot. She has like an incredible system so that folks have a clear sense of what growth opportunities exist within the Clean Start network. It's all commercial cleaning, so like a lot of offices and large businesses would reach out to Clean Start directly through the Stella Circle website and connect with them for a quote. They also, we have social procurement policies too around what chemical or cleaners we use, and like that's also another piece of the work, and that we're supporting other local companies in terms of what products we use. So I mean,
cool.
We should get Paula in here and like tell you about it.
No, this is great.
Because it's an incredible, it's an incredible success story, and I think the capacity to grow that is also there. So if that piece of the work interests you, that's another great way to be able to support our organization.
And then you said about profits, right? And
Yes.
profits go back. So like let's say like with all of the cleaners and the focus on to look at how great business is, right?
Yeah.
And the cleaning side of things. So where will the profits go? And we've mentioned it already, but just to be specific, of they get put back into programming. So like what?
Directly back into programming. So in either housing and mental health or in employment.
Or peer-to-peer support, like you mentioned. Too.
Exactly. And I think it's a really great thing that you've asked about the social enterprises. We were actually just sitting with Susan from Sam Design, and they're a matching donor this year for our Giving Tuesday event. And she was talking about buying local and the big push around that, and the fact that we've just come through Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all those pieces, and going beyond buying local and buying social. And so really, yes, today is Giving Tuesday. If folks can support community organizations and can support Stella Circle, it's a wonderful day to do so, because all donations are matched for us up to $15,000 today. But if you can't, you may go out to eat over the holiday season. And so why not come into Stella's Brasserie, where it is a social enterprise. The quality is also exceptional. I'm a frequent flyer there myself. The food is very good. The service is exceptional. The space is beautiful. And so you can have the experience that you have at a lovely restaurant and know that your funds are going into something for social good. And so it's really a win-win. If you own a business, why not reach out to Clean Start? If you need a small home renovation, why not touch base with our Home to Stay folks? And again, we'll be launching the Hungry Heart Cafe next month down in Pleasantville. So a great opportunity. These are points where people can intersect with the community sector in meaningful ways, in ways where you'd already be, out engaging with business. So we really welcome that and want to highlight that in addition to the Giving Tuesday piece today.
Before I knew what a social enterprise was, I knew about the Hungry Heart Cafe, right? So I had an idea. No one had phrased it to me about it being a social enterprise. But that now when we look at the expansions and the extra social enterprises that you folks are involved in, you talk to Choices for Youth, talk to Caroline Harding with Smart Ice. There's all these social enterprises that I've started to kind of be aware of. And they're doing well from the outside looking at it, because they still exist. Some are expanding, and even from the description here today for cleaning too, right? All of this. What does it say that, with everything we said earlier about here are the gaps and the issues in society that we're trying to fix and everything else, the fact that you do get folks choosing to support social enterprises and the fact that they can grow and be stronger and bigger and better?
Well, I'd certainly say that it's a marker of the wonderful community we have in Newfoundland and Labrador, right? And again, I'm not only a come from away, I'm a come from away twice. So I wasn't born here. I lived here for a while. I left and I came back.
You actually get extra points for that.
Yeah,
I know.
that's
because everyone loves that. It's wait a minute, you left, but then you came back again.
I came back.
You must have really liked it.
I did and do really like it. And one of the reasons why I love this place so much is because of the ways that people say, you know what, I'm going to take it upon myself to think about my broader community. I'm going to take it upon myself to give back by volunteering, by donating on a day like Giving Tuesday, by frequenting a social enterprise, because I recognize and I know that this is about something bigger than me. It's about my neighbors. It's about my broader community. And even, it is a difficult time right now. You've heard Nikki talk about some of the gaps that are in the system. Laura talk about some of the gaps that are in the system. And those gaps are widening. They're not closing. But at the same time, the ways that we can help to bridge those gaps, even as everything else is falling apart, is by banding together and by doing what we can. And so even that tiny little bit, that tiny little decision just does something transformative, because it helps to kind of perpetuate momentum towards a society that's better for all of us. Yeah,
and we're not so big that everyone's an other here, right? In fact, it seems when I have conversations like this that gets broken down, and the others are actually us, and which is the point of some of these conversations. Nicole Daw is on the line, Executive Director with the Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador. Nicole's been on the show the last couple of years around Giving Tuesday. And also, you're on the show for much more than that, too, semi-frequently. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Adam?
Good. Tell us, the Community Foundation, for Giving Tuesday, I wanted to kind of give you a shout to check in on you folks. And, how's Giving Tuesday in your mind this year, and how are things going?
Yeah, it's good. And I think even better getting to listen to this show. I've just been tuning in, and I'm so grateful for everyone there at Stella's Circle and the way that they wrap everyone, including their staff and their community partners, in such community care and dignity. It's just really, really inspiring to be able to hear that. So I'm grateful to them and for you for giving them that platform. For folks who aren't familiar, the Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador is a registered charity, a public foundation dedicated to the well-being of communities all across the province. So we inspire and facilitate community generosity every day. So we love getting a chance to talk about Giving Tuesday and how people are able to give back this holiday season.
Yeah, so tell us folks more about the reach that the Community Foundation has.
Yeah, so we have over 40 funds, a community of funds that support all kinds of initiatives across the province, from scholarships to arts and heritage to recovery funds that we have right now on the North Shore. So again, we are meant to facilitate that community generosity that folks want to see happen in their communities. And we have individuals, corporations, towns, all sorts of people that we're really grateful trust us to help them with that.
What's it like? How many years is this now for you for the Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador?
I've been in this role for 3.5 years.
3.5 years. What's it been like seeing the building that every year, for whether it's Giving Tuesday or just seeing what gets built within the community and within the folks that you work with for helping community partners and just and regular folks?
Yeah, it's really really inspiring and fulfilling. And I think especially, there's myself, Laura mentioned she's been in her role a little longer than I have. I think there's a whole bunch of us who are sort of in that kind of last 3 to 5 years that we've really been stepping into the leadership in community sector organizations. And it's been inspiring and also so supportive on how people just sort of rally for one another and are really just in it for the community. And I think are finding all sorts of amazing ways to work together in thoughtful ways that are great for the organizations and really great for the communities at the end of the day.
Before I let you go, I know you were on with Jen this morning on the St. John's Morning Show talking about it was outdoor play for children across the country and some applications that just opened, right? Can you just give us those details too, please?
Yeah, 100%. So Free to Play is focused on getting Canadian children outdoors playing more. It's being delivered by local community foundations like us all across the country. So you can head to cfnl.ca to get more information about how to apply for that. And also we got a great blog post today in terms of how to give back this giving season too that you can read there too.
Okay. Thank you, as always, for coming on the program, and it's good to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
Nicole Dahl, their Executive Director, Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador. So my question to you folks, are you giving on this Giving Tuesday? Let me know. The signal at cbc.ca or text us 709-327-8206. Is Giving Tuesday something that, you think about, right? Because we have all these times of buying, and it's just the thought around giving, especially with the holidays, with Christmas, everything else approaching. Like I said, give us a text, 709-327-8206. My main guests here for the show today is the folks from Stella Circle, and we're talking all about their organization, how they help folks, wraparound services, and they're talking about their big night, which is this evening. Who wants to also, Laura, I'll go back to you. We've said it a few times, but I'm just curious, just remind folks about why today is so important for you and your organization.
Thank you. So yes, it is the Light Up Hope event, which is how we honor Giving Tuesday each year. It's an in-person event at 4:00 this afternoon at the Bonaventure Community Garden, right next to Holy Heart. And that's a beautiful community space that we support through horticultural therapy. And it's going to be transformed this evening. I actually drove by on my way, and we had our adult basic education folks were out. The students were decorating a tree that's been donated by Murray's Garden Center. We're so grateful for that. And at 4:00 when we start the event, we will have some fire jugglers. There will be hot chocolate and treats from the Hungry Heart Cafe. Our inclusion choir is going to be doing sing-along, super family-friendly, neighborhood-friendly event. And I mean, Giving Tuesday overall is a day where the focus is on community giving. It's on coming together to support community initiatives. And for Stella's Circle, we're so grateful to our friends at Sam Design and other donors who are matching donations up to $15,000 today. And I do want to note those donations are going directly into 15 new units of housing for women experiencing homelessness, and specifically women who have had criminal justice histories or histories of violence. So you asked Nikki earlier about the conditions inside HMP and what incarcerated women are experiencing. The other piece is what happens upon release.
Yeah,
and
like right away when you get out, it's like, so now where do I go? What do I do? Where's my help?
Exactly. And in this province, historically, we have not had housing of any nature specifically for that population. That's quite unique. In other places that does exist, and it does exist here for men. It does not exist for women and gender diverse folks in Newfoundland and Labrador. So we are developing the first of its kind, 15 beautiful units on Military Road that they're in the works right now, and so the capital development piece is covered. The funds are actually going directly into outfitting those 15 rooms. So everything from the sheets to the dishes in the cupboard to the furniture, really creating a home and building 15 futures for 15 women and gender diverse folks who we look forward to welcoming there.
Nikki, what are the risks? So if you're, whether it was Clarenville before or HMP now, if you're if you're a gender diverse person and you get out and there's nothing for you with housing, what are the risk factors along there? And I'm sure people can kind of fill in some of the dots, but just just for this exercise, because I'll bring it back around to the support side after.
Yeah, some of the biggest risks and challenges that people are facing when they are released are, like you said, if you don't have a safe place to go, your options might be shelter. What we know about our shelters is that they're very full right now. It's getting colder. They're going to continue to be full. Also, there is a shelter for young women, the Naomi Center, that we operate through Stella's, but there aren't shelters targeted for women, and shelters are a Band-Aid solution. So if people can't go to shelters, then they're sleeping rough. They might be staying with someone who's maybe not the safest person in their life, but it's the only option that they have to stay warm. So when it comes to, I guess, the risks, it's the survival strategies that people have to use to get through.
Yeah, so and it could be risk for gender-based violence, exploitation. I mean, the range for risk is and just from sleep and rough and weather and cold and everything else as well. Like all of that stacks up.
Absolutely. And on top of that, if you're someone who struggles with their mental health or you're someone who's trying to stay sober, those environments are not conducive to getting help for that.
So then if you get out and you've got one of these new units, then what happens?
So ideally, someone would be able to come and have a warm place to sleep and have supportive people around, and maybe they get referred to the Justice Women's Center and they get to go down and have a meal with a group. Maybe they get to go across the road and go to a manual house for their day program and start to get some support for their mental health. And so it can open those doors, and I guess something to consider is that it takes time to establish safety when you've been living in chaos or instability. Yeah. So we really want to work with people on an individual basis to make sure that that time is honored and that they take the steps when they're ready, and making sure that we have those supports available will be really important.
And like if we look at folks who get wraparound supports in the criminal justice system compared to people who don't, what are the differences in outcomes?
Yeah, like you said, I think people can probably fill in the blanks, but if you, I guess, have been going down a path in your life where you've had to make some really hard choices based on a lack of options, the chances of you returning to prison or having further contact with the law are increased if you don't have those supports. Also, when you look at the services and systems that we access in society, outcomes are better when it comes to healthcare and justice. So, like I said, everything is interconnected. So people are going to be able to more sooner access healthcare services, which means they won't be accessing emergency rooms, or maybe they're connected to what they need in terms of their medication. All of these things compound to better outcomes if they have those supports in place.
Yeah, and because like if you're at HMP, this is not to boil it down to dollars, but like that's really expensive, right? Like housing someone in a facility compared to folks being out with wraparound supports. Like if you do a compare cost analysis, is it not cheaper this other way as opposed to the continual intersections with the healthcare system and the justice system?
Yeah, I don't have the numbers on me right now, but I believe it is cheaper to house someone in transitional housing than it is to house them in shelter, a hospital, or another type of institution like a correctional facility. So it's cheaper. It just makes sense.
Yeah, if memory serves, I think a recent study that was done by folks at the Independent said it was nearly 20 times cheaper. Yeah. Right? Like we're talking magnitudes of difference in terms of how expensive housing someone, incarcerating someone is compared to putting someone in supportive housing.
Yeah, and then on the so that's the dollar side, and then on the human side, you just have someone who's not in facing harm all the time anymore, and that is a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think when we talk dollars and cents, we're talking per night. I think the impact goes far beyond that. I think about some of the work that Just Us has been doing recently. I don't know, Nick, if you want to speak to the Storybook Project, just like how impactful a piece of work like that is in the lives of not just women incarcerated, but also their kids.
Yeah, when you think about hope and joy, as we talked about earlier, our social workers and our staff are going in now with recordable storybooks that they can bring to the women who are incarcerated for them to be able to read a story and have their voice recorded for those who can't be with their kids right now. And then that book gets sent to the family so that the kid will always have that connection to their family member.
That must be quite the thing to be part of. I mean, that's.
our team works really, really hard. There are no better champions than the team at Just Us to support women in this way. It's amazing to watch them work and just to see how they show up every day and they do this work. It's hard and it's worth it.
By the way, speaking of hard, how hard is it to build this type of housing these days? Like that, it must be. There must be some challenges, but yet you're still plowing through and moving along.
Yes, this is a really unique project in that it's one of the first in the province that's funded through federal, provincial, and municipal funds as well as private donors. So
I mean, that's an aligning of planets that doesn't happen very often.
Absolutely.
Like
And
there
you-
should be I should have some astrophysicist in to talk about this.
Yes, you love to see it. It is what should be happening and what did happen in this case.
Yeah.
And it really is about leveraging what's available federally, what's available provincially and municipally to really meet the needs of community. And so we are so grateful. Projects like this are expensive. It's a massive capital development. And we've been fundraising all along the way for that. And like I said, today on Giving Tuesday, all donations to Stella's Circle are matched up to $15,000. And those funds are going directly into making these houses homes for folks. So it's the outfitting of the units, which unfortunately there are no pockets of funds to cover.
Yeah.
And so we're relying on community support to really build this and build 15 homes, 15 futures for very deserving women and gender diverse folks in community.
All right. In the few minutes we have left, what are some of the look aheads? So yes, 4:00 today, right? And 3 hours and 5 minutes from now, this thing starts. The community event, Light Up Hope. What else are you looking at now as we approach the holidays and beyond? Or is it just the focus on today and the jokes that you've written, Tari, that you're not going to use?
Yeah, the many jokes that I'm not using at my stand-up routine. No, so today, of course, is an incredibly important day, but we do have many other ways to engage with us throughout the holiday season and beyond. So on December 10th, we have our alternative service, which is always a wonderful time where people get together in a non-denominational way, but to celebrate the season and to talk and to kind of commune, and also to share a holiday meal. And then, really excitingly, as Julia mentioned, the Hungry Heart Cafe is opening in January. More details to come, but we will be reopening in Pleasantville, and you can watch this space for plenty of updates. We'll have a wonderful opening, and you'll be able to get all of your scones, cinnamon buns, and other treats very soon.
I love a good scone. And is this just on the boulevard? Where's it to in Pleasantville? What part is it?
It's on 77 Charter Avenue.
77 Charter Avenue.
And we're sharing space with Food First, who have their offices set up there, and there'll be a large community room that will be able to rent out for community events. And just in the spirit of that too, the Stella's Brasserie was really well supported by the community, booking out all private events over the holidays, but we have been taking private bookings in the new year there. And I think just, being able to support the social enterprises in any way beyond Giving Tuesday, but as well as donating today.
Oh yeah, I know where this is. I was just looking at Google Maps, and I've ran by here before. I know exactly where it was, where it is, and where it's going to be. So the last few steps for getting it open, is it permitting? Like, what are the last few things that have to be done for this?
Yes,
Yeah.
permitting for sure. Which is hinging on so many other pieces, but it's all coming together. And the team, there's so many different teams working on this, and there's been people over the last 2 years too. Just the foundation has been amazing. So it's just the final punch list, really.
Yeah, so what's it like being in the space, looking at the potential and knowing what's going to be there when it opens?
It's incredible. Like, there's so many neighbors. There's very few amenities in that area. There's so many neighbors coming, coming inside and asking what's going to happen. I think we'll be able to serve the community there in a whole variety of ways. Food First is already doing a lot of work there, and some of their events are open to the public. But having the Hungry Heart there, people are waiting. We've, being open for 18 years, there's a amazing, rich history of support of that space. So I think it will, offer the same elements of being an incredible place to gather.
Yeah, and more density coming soon, too, according to the city, 2028 for new development for the Pleasantville area, right? So more people, more bums and seats for eating food, more than likely. Hey, we're out of time. Final word.
Just want to say thank you for having us. Thank you to everyone who's contributing and to all the folks accessing our services. Most of all, thank you for trusting us with their care.
All right, thank you. Thanks, folks, for this. Thoughts for The Signal at cbc.ca. Tomorrow, the annual 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence is ongoing. We are going to talk to the YWCA and the Journey Project about how financial support is a leading barrier to safety from gender-based violence and ways that they're trying to fix that. Cheers.